In today's episode of the Hotelier Huddle, I had an inspiring chat with a young hotelier who's already had a diverse entrepreneurial career so far, Joaquin D'Orazio, a recent winner of the Peter Ricci Scholarship from the HSMAI South Florida chapter. This guy genuinely gives me hope for our industry, and I'm sure you'll find this conversation as inspiring as I did. I'm so glad to talk to you. I'm so thrilled and I'm so excited because even since we scheduled this chat, you got an amazing award through HSMAI the other night, and I want to hear all about that. But I do like to sort of run down the career journey so far of my guests so that people understand how qualified you are to be a member of the tribe, the Hotelier tribe. So you started off at Descendants Brewing Inn at the old Ship Inn in New Jersey. Is that in the Jersey Shore? That's not Jersey Shore, is it?
So no. So it's actually, it sounds like it would be on the Jersey Shore, but it's
does.
actually it's on the Delaware. So by Pennsylvania, it's right across from Pennsylvania. It's a little town called Boca, where I grew up. Yeah.
So does that make you an Eagles fan?
Oh no.
No. Okay. Jets?
Never. Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's actually a lot of Steelers fans out there. But my dad's a Steelers fan. That's why.
Okay. So that's a lifelong requirement. I got it.
Yes.
I got it. So you went from Descendants Brewing at the old Ship Inn, and then you were a political intern for 3 months, and I'll be interesting to hear how that might inform your customer service skills to this day. And then you were in Jersey again as a customer service lead, social media, marketing coordinator, and a barista making coffee. And I wonder if your current hotel gets you to make espressos for them sometime. I bet they do. And then you were an operations associate and a host for a year with Boutique Hospitality. And then you were a bit of an entrepreneur with D'Orazio Detailing. Can't wait to hear a little bit about that. Very entrepreneurial, very impressive. And then you took a career break and you were able to go to Europe for a while. And you described that as taking time to travel in Europe to explore other cultures and hospitality trends in Europe. And then you relocated to Florida to begin the next chapter, which is your academic life and your professional journey. And now you're working full time at the a Boca Raton 5-star luxury hotel. Now, correct me, I lived in Florida for 10 or 12 years forever ago, but it's been a long time since I lived there. Do we pronounce it Boca Raton or Boca Raton? How do the locals say it these days?
Now listen, I'm not an expert because I'm from New Jersey. I've gotten a couple of talkings about how I say it, but I think it's the Boca Raton. I was saying Boca Raton.
It is Raton.
Raton, yeah. Because it seems like Raton to me. But you know, they're very specific about it in Boca.
I know. We'll call it like the locals here. It's just Boca, right? It's just Boca.
Yeah, Boca.
Okay. So, in your hotel guest relations agent role, you started that one not too long ago, and that's a 5-star luxury property, isn't it?
I mean, it's 5 hotels. It's a resort. It's a 4 5-star resort, so it's the most luxurious you can get. There's 5 hotels. You can pick from an historic part. You could pick from an adults only yacht club, or you could go to the tower. That's the tallest building in Palm Beach. It's great over there. Or you could go to the bungalows for a more long-term stay, or the beach club. It's really great. Best service ever, I have to say.
Right.
And I've got to dine there, which is an amazing experience. So actually, we're about to hit our 100th year. So it was built in 1926.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we're about to hit our 100 years built by Mr. Meisner, and he built a lot of buildings in Palm Beach County. And I mean, it's amazing.
And those sort of properties really do have to be, lovingly maintained and restored and looked after over 100 years to, maintain not just the aesthetic, but the service level and the appearance and, the service delivery. That's really unique and rare, isn't it?
Exactly. It is. It's the maintenance team is amazing. 24/7, just
I'll
working,
bet.
working, working, working. Great.
And they must be specialists. You mentioned something very important then, is that you've had the experience of dining on site in this property. And I wonder if that's something, because I know that doesn't happen in a lot of properties, especially at five-star or luxury properties. I work with a lot of properties that, where that isn't, part of onboarding or training of their employees. And I wonder if you can tell me, do you think that's important? Is that something you would recommend if, for employees or people just starting out in a new role?
It's so, so important. You would never, it's going back into the guest's shoes. You'll never know if you're recommending a dish. You have to know what that dish is, even if you just
Of
know how it
course.
looks.
Of
But
course.
tasting it and sitting in the same seat as the guest is going to sit in, and I'm very lucky. The resort is amazing with customers and with employees. They let us try. They have whole programs for us, and it's wonderful. They know that we need to know what the guest is going to experience, and they try their hardest and they do it.
That's amazing. And that's another experience you've had very early in your hotelier career that I know for sure will serve you very well, because if you decide to be a general manager or an executive or the owner of a boutique brand across a region, that sounds like something that you will continue to instill in every job you probably ever have. That's brilliant. Well done, you, Joaquin D'Orazio. You took a career break to explore Europe's hospitality scene. I'm curious to know what's something that you might have observed in a European hotel lobby or a cafe or a restaurant, and you thought, why aren't we doing this back in America?
I could have a whole podcast about this. Um,
We can schedule a second
it's
one if you want.
right. It's there's a lot. One thing I noticed, and I think a lot of people notice that travel to Europe from America,
Yes.
is the pace.
Yes.
Especially from I'm from New Jersey, so I'm used to, everything fast, 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 go, go, go.
Yes.
I, w- I would be sitting down in a restaurant, and it would take 2 hours for me to even get my check, which is fine, and I loved it. And I think that in some places like a luxury resort or a vacation spot in the U.S., we should adapt maybe the less urgency. And it's not like they're doing it
Yes.
like on purpose; it's just their culture, and I love it. And it makes everything relaxing and calm. It's not like, oh, this guy needs me out of this table fast, or this guy needs me out of my room by this time. It just, you go with the flow, and it's a wonderful lifestyle.
That's such an interesting perspective. And I love that you've taken that on and absorbed that so early in your career, because we have to learn as hoteliers, especially with profit in mind, to balance the need to turn over tables and beds and rooms and spaces. And we need to turn
Exactly.
them over to increase our profits. But we also want our guests to savor the moment and enjoy and be in that experience and enjoy it. And they can't do that if we're rushing them out of their seat and out of their
Uh,
room.
Exactly. I guess if the guest is happy, I forget the statistic, but they're much more likely to return with, if they're not being rushed. You don't want to be rushed.
Absolutely right. I'm so glad that's something you've taken on so early, and long may it live with you. It's probably deep in your bones now, so that's excellent. Um, so from uh, detailing cars to detailing guest experiences in a five-star property, what transferable skills did running D'Orazio Detailing teach you about luxury service that may actually show up in your everyday work today?
That's a great question. It's, it's, there's a lot,
Hmm,
but mostly is dealing with requests of customers. So like
okay.
juggling everything all at once. So I'll have, I used to have, five people on the same day. I'd have to go detail their car, and I would have five people messaging me, oh, I have to change this time, or I need this part of the car specialized, or need this special service done. And then at the hotel, I take those skills and I'm able to balance, this guest is asking me for sheets. This guest needs a crib in their room. This guest is it's their birthday. I need to send something up for them. There's so much different.
Yes.
Just juggling everything. Time management is really it. I got taught so much from owning a business like that. Is time management is key, and to make the guest happy and make your profits go up.
That's super interesting. And do you think that having been a business owner and worked for your own business and in your family business with profits and ownership and cost in mind from such an early stage in your working life, do you think, I mean, certainly, I mean, the question's answering itself. Do you think that, informs and benefits how you work? But you know, do you think that other people that might not have had that experience like you, do you think, they sort of miss out on, not thinking about the profits and the actual business side of it, and they're just kind of going through the motions? I mean, that's a huge benefit that you have over others, I think, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. I
Mm,
mean, it's really, I believe everyone can learn.
mm,
But people my age, I would say a lot of them haven't gotten that hands-on experience. So it's a nice edge, uh, to know how businesses make profit and
I
why
agree.
they make the profit, and you can take that in part to everything I do at work. I do in the back of my mind. There's always, oh, are they going to make money off of this?
Yes.
And I think it's just how a hotel works. But yeah, I think it's a great skill, and but I think everyone learns it eventually.
Yeah, if not the hard way. So, well done you. So, Joaquin, for those that have never worked in a hotel or are brand new to the hospitality industry, or they might be thinking about studying like you have, or starting out in a career like yours, in your specific role, let's look at that one. What's a day in the life of a guest relations agent like?
It's a fun role, but it's usually normal shifts. You work 7 to 3, 3 to 11,
Hmm.
and you just get to you have a desk. And this is simple, but you have a desk, you have your computer, and then you have the guests come in. But really, you get to connect with each guest, and you are the first point that they see and the last point that they see.
So sorry to interrupt. You're in the lobby guest facing, right? So you're
Yes,
physically in the lobby when guests physically arrive, you're the first face, and then the last presence when they leave the property. Is that right?
exactly. I mean, there's the doorman, the bellman, the valet, the security, but you're the last one that they really have a personal interaction with. We try to have a personal interaction with every guest, with every employee, but we break down their bills. We try to make their experience better. I personally am always for grabbing a personal a a celebration, or even if they're just here for the first time. I always try to grab that information and have that, and um, make their experience better with that information. So it's even sending up champagne or even a handwritten
Mm,
card. I always try to have a handwritten card for every guest I have, that is celebrating or just here and enjoying their property.
amazing.
And then yeah, it's really connecting with guests is the biggest part. And then checking them in, making sure the rooms up to their requests and all of that.
So you have worked everywhere from a brewery at the old ship-in to a chocolate cafe to Boca's, polished guest relations desk. If you could steal perhaps one operational practice from maybe your scrappiest job and implement it now to your most luxurious job, what would that be?
I mean, one thing I learned, it was a dishwasher busser, at the old
That's
ship
as
in,
messy as it
was
gets.
right was just helping in any way. So I would have my general manager would come wash dishes with me if it was a busy night,
Those are the best
helping.
GMs. The
Right,
best
right.
GMs, aren't they?
The
Yes.
best. It's just putting your, not micromanaging, but having your hands, a little bit of your hands in everything, just so, oh, if
Quite
this
literally.
busser needs, I'm trained to bust these tables. I'm trained to serve these tables, to greet these tables, to sit people. everything. Just knowing how to do everything, even if you're not a manager. I try to learn how to be a bellboy, uh, a housekeeper, a
Yes.
server. You just have to kind of know how to do everything, so it creates the smoothest possible experience for the guests, and then for your coworkers too. So you could hop in anywhere and just do it.
Oh, Joaquin, that's so true. That's so true. And that just makes my heart sing that you've said that because, and it occurs to me, it's starting to be a theme in my podcast chats because that same thing in different forms has come up in so many of my hotelier huddle chats with people. We spoke with a very senior revenue distribution manager director the other day who was saying that he takes breaks out from his day strategizing the revenue direction for 30 hotels and he goes and cleans a room with housekeeping for a day just to get perspective.
That's crazy. Yeah,
And it sounds like, you're kind of hardwired to think that way now as well. And it does build really good leaders when you know how to do the hard, messy, sleeves rolled up jobs yourself. It makes a big difference, doesn't it?
exactly.
Wow. Well done, you. Um, so, to another kind of messy job now, the other kind of sleeves rolled up, the other grit. Um, you volunteered and you were an intern with a political campaign once upon a time. And uh, political campaigns and hotel guest relations, they both require reading the room exceptionally well and reading people exceptionally well. Is there something, or what's the most unexpected thing your internship in that political campaign taught you about managing diverse stakeholder expectations?
I learned that individual, so everyone has their own story, of course.
Of
So
course,
I learned a
yeah.
lot about going deeper into their story and figuring out, why they should vote for, the camp. I'm not going to say the name of the campaign, but the campaign, like why they think that way. So going deep into their story, it helps with guests a lot. So if they're coming here, they're here for your funeral, for a wedding, for a celebration, anything, and then you can go deeper than that and figure out like if they like being here for the wedding or if they don't, you know. There's always a second story to every front. So campaigning, you have to learn how to really get deep into their own story and put yourself in their spot, and why they
Yes.
should vote, why they should stay with us.
Why they should stay with us as a supporter, why they should stay with us as a guest. There's so many similarities there, right? Um,
Yes.
and how did you do that? Like, were there, I mean, again, without revealing any, particular strategies, or are there similar questions that you ask? I mean, for instance, I'm thinking in hotel reservation sales, we sometimes ask a qualifying question, such as, what brings you to the area? Not why are you staying in this hotel, but it's what brings you to the area so that we can ascertain reason for travel and then we know what market segment they're in. Are there similar qualifying questions, do you think? Is there a similar approach to how you specifically find their story?
Yes, so there's a lot in campaigns compared to luxury hospitality. I would say the language is different. So I'd be like, why are you
Sure,
what's your main issue voting? Like why are you interested in what's your main issue that you
sure,
support or that you're strong for? So that, and then getting deeper into that. So you would ask, why do you support? You make them think a little bit, so you can provide just a conversation, of course. So you have a way of talking, then you get five different points from them why, and you can take one of their points and talk about that and connect that with
nice.
something else. It's all about connecting the dots, and then you have to make an argument for yourself, of course. So you connect everything and you figure out. It's kind of like a puzzle, and same with a guest. You would ask it in a little nicer way, but
Sure.
like you said, you make a puzzle, that puzzle piece, and you provide value, and then that value equals a sale or a vote or an upgrade or anything,
Yes.
or just a happy customer being
Yeah.
seen.
happy customer is a voter, a converted sale. Maybe it's someone that would like to be a donor to the campaign. There's so
Exactly.
many similarities, and they're there by choice, right? I mean, it's the same way in hotels. They've come to us in most cases. They're choosing to be our customer. They're choosing to be our guest, hopefully. That's excellent. I mean, you've clearly picked up a lot of skills that will serve you well if you decide to go into a sales career or go into marketing, or no matter where you go in your journey, which we'll get to in a minute. I think that will serve you very well, Joaquin. Um, if thinking about where you may go next, although I'm sure you'll be in your current role for many, many years, I'm sure that's what they want to. They want to feel like they've got you in this role forever, because I'm sure you're very good at it. If you could design the perfect day in the life role that blends sort of elements from every job you've held so far, from the chocolate shop to luxury guest relations, what would that day look like? Like, what's a day in the life, the perfect role that blends all the elements of the jobs you've held so far?
Wow. It
I
would
know
be
it's a
it
funny
would be a lot.
question.
I
Yeah, I
like it
know.
though. It's a good question.
Yeah,
It's I would say first off, the most important thing would be interacting with guests, because that's my
sure.
favorite thing is conversation.
You're in the
And
right
then
industry
problem
then, man.
solving with right. Problem solving. So it would be problem solving with the guests specifically, and then making a difference in operations. So
Yes.
going deeper into the in-house heart of house, going deep into there and figuring out in-house problems, and figuring out all those problems. So, dealing with everyone. I mean, it sounds like a general manager kind of, but I would say more interacting with the guests.
Sure.
I would love, and sales, of course. So it would be mostly interacting with guests, but also in-house. So just talking to everyone, figuring out people's problems, but also making some money for us, for
Of
the hotel,
course.
right. So I
Yes.
guess, yeah, it would be a lot of talking to guests is the main thing, I would say.
Yes. Well, it sounds like you've definitely chosen the right industry, or the industry's chosen you. That's what happens sometimes. And I can already tell, Joaquin, that you would be, or will be, if you choose to, be one of those general managers that generally manages not from behind a desk or behind a fancy office or from behind a door. You're going to be out amongst it. And I love that. And, it, considering you've already been a founder, you've traveled extensively, and you'll probably travel again, and landed at a five-star property, all before you even, figured out your specific first career move. When you imagine 5 years from now, and I know this, I don't mean this to sound like an interview question, but I always like to ask this anyway. If you think about a year from now, 5 years from now, building your own hotelier concept maybe, um, or creating something that is entirely unexpected, that combines, your entrepreneurial spirit, which you clearly have, and your service expertise and your puzzle solving. What do you think that might look like?
Well, in 5 years, first off, I hope to be up in leadership somewhere, executive. But besides that, is I would love to build a network of boutique. I love boutique inns and boutique hotels, but a network
Nice.
of boutique inns and hotels around the country and around the world. But all with hyper. I love hyper customization. So like
Ah,
hyper luxury service in the industry, and everything's connected. So um, let's say Johnny goes to an inn in Fort Lauderdale, and his first time, he has all of these all of these preferences, everything, and then he goes to let's say an inn in New Jersey, and all his preferences are there. His favorite wine is in the room. His
magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
magic, right? Where the guest doesn't have to
Yeah.
think. And maybe even if it's not physical ins, if it's just a system, which they have, but more for smaller inns and smaller boutique hotels or cafes where they have, it's just an easy access. Okay, John is coming in, and just a network of everyone connected, so everyone has a great experience at every hotel they go to.
Do you imagine that to be a specific type of property, or is it a title, or maybe it's a brand? Maybe it's a brand of properties, or a physical kind of hotel, or maybe it's all of those things. I mean, you could design whatever you like, couldn't you?
Yeah, I would see it as a system, so a brand where hotels can opt into it, but mostly, like if you want to be a part of the network, you could join the network and have
Sure.
access to our guest information and guest
Special
preferences.
access always gets people
Right?
excited.
Right,
Yes,
right. You make
yes,
some money, all
yes,
that,
yes.
and and physical ends, of course, where you could have have the experience, the right experience, and they would be. I love historic inns. They're great. Stockton Inn is where I worked. It's an amazing property with the best, the best in New Jersey. Stockton Inn. It's in a little town. It's great. I highly recommend if you make it up to New Jersey. It's an hour away from the city, hour away from Philly, hour away from New York. It's in a little town. It's 9 rooms. It's perfect.
9 rooms. Wow.
9 rooms. Yeah.
I love the sound of it. I love the sound of
It's
it.
great. There's 2 hotels. I mean, two restaurants. It's great.
Wow, that would be a very fascinating type of property to revenue manage with 9 rooms and 2 food and beverage outlets. But that's for another podcast.
Uh,
So that's super interesting, Joaquin. So with the Stockton Inn, I'm really interested in what sparks your interest about that property so much. Tell me more. Tell me more. What about that property, other than its geographic location? What about that do you think is so special and resonates with you so much?
well, working there, I got to see, and this is just connecting back to my thing about like hyper personalization is it's 9 rooms. You're gonna have everyone's gonna know you in the hotel. All the staff is gonna know your
Yes.
name before you come, know your name when you leave, and when you come back. Everyone knows you. The hyper personalization and the luxury service and the quaintness of it. It's a
Yes.
quaint, I would say. There's a whole Frank Sinatra has a song. I forget who it's written by, but if you look at a small hotel with a wishing well, it's a famous song, but it's written about the Stockton Inn, and
Really?
yeah, it describes it quite well. That'd be one of the reasons why I like it too. I mean, Frank Sinatra sang a song about it. It's got to be great, right?
How did I not
Um,
know that? I love that you've just taught me that. Now I have to go look it up.
yeah, it's a great song. I recommend it.
I mean, I would love to think that that same approach and that same hyper personalization and one on one guest service approach could still be applied even at the MGM Grand in Vegas with 5,000
Of
rooms,
course,
or, a 1,000 room property in Atlantic City. You'd love to think that that's scalable, but gosh, that's really hard. And you may have even observed already that that's really hard to scale beyond 9 rooms, isn't it? But maybe someone like you, with your mind and your intent and your experience and your, education, you might be able to make that happen.
hopefully that's the plan, right? In in the Boca Raton, I've noticed that it's possible. It's very possible, but you have to make sure that your individual associates are taking that and care about it, and they do where I work. We do care about it. What I've noticed is everyone does care about the personalization, about the guest, and if you have
That's the
associates like that, you're
difference.
gonna have exactly you're gonna have people who care about their work. You're gonna have guests who care uh, about about the hotel.
So it sounds like caring about your work and study and being willing to work 6 days a week and your approach to work and study is probably what earned you this recent scholarship award. Tell me more about that, please, because that's very recent, isn't it? Was it last week?
Yeah, it was last week. I believe it was it Friday.
And that was through the South Florida chapter of HSMAI, I believe.
It was. It was. It was great. It was the Peter Ricci scholarship. Peter Ricci is an amazing guy. He works at FAU. He's
Indeed.
the best. So I reached out to him. when I first moved to Florida, um, I was researching how to network in the area. I wanted to network down in Florida, and I saw HSMAI South Florida pop up.
Well done, you.
I emailed him, and that's exactly what he said. He's like, wow, I've never had a college freshman reach out to me
Yeah.
about joining, and I joined, and he invited me to a few events and panels to watch, and it was great. And then he invited me to apply to the scholarship, and I got it. And at that night, it was great. It was great.
And so what was that like? What was the feeling of being surrounded by your peers and, getting the award and getting the scholarship? Like what was that feeling like?
I mean, it was a little bit of pride, and just happiness, and then the hope. Like you see that I kind of felt that I had you know, a goal in the industry, and you kind of feel like you have a place then, because everyone recognizes you. But it was a lot of pride, I would have to say, and just happiness. It was great seeing everyone else win. Also, I had four other people who won the scholarship with me from all different colleges. So
Wow.
just being around them and being around other future leaders in hospitality, especially younger ones,
Yes.
around my age, it was really nice to see that other people my age care about the industry and
Yes.
care enough, to even apply for a scholarship and be around the industry.
Indeed. And, I will give HSMAI a little plug because they're a not for profit and because, full disclosure, I'm on their Asia Pacific board, by the way. But they've been around since 1927 as a not for
Wow.
profit Hotel Sales and Marketing Association International. And this is the sort of thing that they do. And so good on you for reaching out and becoming a member. So, what specifically does that scholarship do for you in your study or in your work? Like, what specifically, how does that help you along that scholarship?
There's the monetary value of it. They gave me an extra
Yeah,
cap, and that
that's
really it
huge
goes a long way.
because
Especially,
school is a big commitment.
it's a big commitment. The
Yes.
cost it's insane to think about
Yes.
even, but it really helps. It helps a lot with that, and I mean, it helped in the Boca Raton, just in general. People recognize you, your career, of course. It was a lot of it was just a big jump, pride, like I was saying before. But it was, yeah, it's a nice boost
Yes.
for cost of tuition and your career.
It just keeps you going, doesn't it? I mean,
It
I
does.
stopped going to university a number of times. It took me many, many years because every time I would save up enough money and I had enough money to go back to school for a semester, the only reason I had enough money was because I was working one or two full-time jobs. So it was really hard to study, or I was doing night audit from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and studying during the day. And that's pretty hard too. So that motivator, that's really important. And gosh, I'm just so proud for you and proud of you. And it's just such a thrill. Well done,
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, so one last question. We close every hotelier huddle with a final toast. If you were raising a glass to celebrate hoteliers everywhere, what would your toast be? What is your toast to fellow hoteliers?
Let me think. I would toast to all hoteliers, of course, from I mean, making the guests happy, uh,
Yeah,
providing, especially right now, in this world. I feel like people are getting harder and harder to please.
absolutely right.
I would toast to just the industry, like it's just pushing through, and I love it. And I toast to all all service workers and all management and all operations. They're just pushing through, and even if a guest is yelling at them, they still go and go and go, and I love it. And I toast to them. I toast to everyone. I toast to the guests, of course. They make everything happen, and right, they're the reason I have a job. So I toast to the guests.
Yes. You said something really important then that I think not everyone, especially at the early point of their hotelier career, recognizes that you already do, is that the guest is the reason we have a job.
Of
Even
course.
if they're yelling at us, even if they're rude, and they often do and they often are, they're the reason we have a job. And the guest isn't always right. I know we used to say that in the olden days, the customer's always right. Often they're not, but they always get to choose whether or not they're going to be our guest today. And they're the reason we have a job. So I'm thrilled that that's something you already have, built into your thinking. That's
Yeah,
really brilliant.
exactly. Whenever a guest is angry at you, this is for all people my age that are just starting.
Yes,
Always
please.
think that's why you have a job is because of the guest. And just think about that. Even if they're I mean if they're disrespecting you, that's another level. But
Sure.
if they're a little difficult, just think about that they're paying your paycheck.
Yep.
It's the end of it is that's what it is.
Have you had a time recently, and you don't have to, name and shame or give anything too specific, but have you had a time recently when a guest has been either yelling at you or like, like one of those moments where you had to take a breath, or have you had a moment like that? Or maybe not even in your current role, because I'm sure at your property, everyone's always happy all the time. But can you think of a specific time and what that felt like and how you responded? Because that's one of the hardest parts about being a hotelier, I think.
It is. It is. I mean, one of my past properties had a bar, and we would get a lot of guests who would
Yes,
just they would just go off on me. You know, they were
that's
not
hard.
stable, but they would go off, and it wasn't. I could tell it wasn't anything. It was just they're having a bad day, and that's how
Sure.
usually it is. It's just someone
Yes.
having a bad day, and they choose to take it out on other people, which is their own style, I guess, right? So they take it out on other people. When I have a guest that's like that, all I think about is I think about again that they're paying my paycheck,
Yep.
and I think I really try to go into their feet, their shoes, and try to figure out why they're acting like this. Um,
It's the
and then of
why.
course
Yes.
the why, exactly. It's always the why. And then after that, I usually do take 2-minute breather just to re get yourself back in that zone of being having the smile on your face because sometimes they wipe it right off, but you gotta get back up and smile again, right? So yeah, I would definitely say if a guest if you're always take a moment for yourself after it. Like why not take 2 minutes, get back into the zone, and then usually the next time the next guest after that is the best guest in the world. Uh,
Yes.
eh,
That's
right,
so true. That's so true because anyone after that is like, oh, I'm just so glad to see you because you're not yelling at me.
right.
Oh, that's excellent sage advice from a young mind. I love it. It gives me hope and it gives me encouragement, and that should be encouraging to anyone just starting out, or maybe even listeners of this discussion that have been in the industry a very long time and maybe they've gotten a little bit dusty in their thinking. Joaquin, I think your perspective is very encouraging and very exciting. Thanks so much for joining the Hotelier Huddle today.
Of
Really
course.
appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.